Hey everybody, we're the good doctors of Abbey Research. I'm Dr. Erin.
I'm Dr. Kristen.
And welcome to our final Christmas movie that you can watch on television or a streaming service. We've branched out from Hallmark. We took a brief detour through Netflix, and that was a mistake. And last week we landed on Lifetime, and we loved it so much. If you missed our review of the Christmas setup, you can find the link below. We stuck with our friends at It's a Wonderful Lifetime, and we watched Christmas Ever After, which, I mean, again, absolute grand salame home run of a Christmas film from Lifetime. This is another one that is very casually diverse. It's humans who look like all different colors and shapes and sizes and abilities, living life and making Christmas memories. So the plot point of this, which we absolutely adore, is we meet a very intrepid romance writer, and we read literal tons of romance between the two of us, named Izzy, who is struggling to finish writing her last book. Every year she goes away to Silver Springs to stay at a lodge to relax and experience the crazy Christmasness. And that is where we set off on this journey. She can't finish her book, so she says, I'll finish it on my holiday. Izzy is played by the fantastically talented Broadway superstar Ali Stroker, who very famously won Best Lead Actress.
Best Featured Actress in a Musical.
Best Featured Actress. I always get Tony's messed up.
That's totally fair. It's essentially their equivalent of Supporting Actress, essentially.
Got it.
So in the 2019 production of Oklahoma, in which she was both the first disabled person to be nominated for that role, for that award. I'm sorry. And therefore the first person to win.
Her accepted speech was like, I've a few times in my life I've been that excited for somebody winning an award. And her
if the Tonys have still left that acceptance speech up, we will put it in the show notes.
We'll find it. So she is the lead. She is the romantic lead in this, the female romantic lead in this. She is in a wheelchair. It is a part of the story because it is a part of who she is, but similarly to the Christmas setup and our wonderful gays, Hugo and Patrick, it is not driving the plot point.
No, and it's not really even addressed. Like, Ali Stroker in real life is paralyzed because she had a spinal injury when she was 2. So she's been in a wheelchair forever. So ostensibly her character has been too, but it's never brought up. No one ever asks her if she needs help. The only time it's even brought up is like they talk about hanging lights, and the love interest is like, oh, sorry, you're busy. And when he said, oh, sorry, I was like, he's gonna make this is where we detour into something that's uncomfortable. But like, no, she had to finish a book. It was nothing about the fact that she couldn't stand on a ladder.
She couldn't stand on a ladder. Yeah. And like there was a brief mention of her, like when she was having that conversation with her love interest, and Matt, his name is
who's a single dad, which is like one of our other major
single dad plot.
I love a single dad story.
We love him. And Matt says like something to her about like struggling or like facing difficulties, and he looks at her and he goes, oh, of course, I'm so sorry, of course you know what that's like. But that was it. And she was like, it's okay. And they moved on, and he was always so conscious that she was in a wheelchair and like always came down to speak to her at her level.
My favorite scene was they went on like a date. So in the romance moves a little quickly for this one. I don't buy their chemistry as much. It's why it's not on the Pantheon for me. I still loved it.
Right.
It's not going in the Pantheon the way that the Christmas matchup does, or One Real Holiday. But like he wasn't quite up to her snuff, in my opinion. But
very pretty though.
Very pretty. He very clearly liked her and was into her, but like I am interested to I am like completely in love went a little bit clunky for me. But so when they're on the date though, he wants to hold her hand, and he doesn't like say like, can you still wheel with one arm, or like, can I do this? They don't have a negotiation. He just holds out his hand, trusting that she'll figure it out, trusting that she is a human with agency and choice, and she'll figure it out. And if she can't do it, she'll say something.
Yeah.
And so she holds his hand for like half a block, wheels herself with one hand, as I'm sure she's used to doing. I love that at no point in time does he ever push her.
Yeah.
I love that nobody makes a joke about sitting on her lap.
No, like it was just so respectful and empathetic, and like, you know, little things that she's like, when she talks about going for a walk, she doesn't say walk because she doesn't walk. She says going for a push.
Yep.
And like just the small details. And it's kind of like the main characters don't like each other at first because she rocks up to the lodge that she's always stayed at to find out that the guy who runs the lodge is handing it over to a new owner who is her son, who is this hot guy, Matt. And Matt's making all these changes. It's not the lodge, it's a chalet, and he's fixing creaky boards and he's, you know, fixing doorknobs and wants to make improvements on something. And she is really like kind of traditional and stuck in her ways. So they
also, writers are quirky and we have weird traditions, and she needs the squeaky floorboard like during her thinking. And I was like, I feel so seen.
I know. I don't write anywhere near to the level of frequency as Dr. Kristen does. But as a person who does write, we all have our quirks, and we all, like, when I was writing my PhD, things had to be in places and things like you develop routines.
I have to have my coffee on the right when I start, because like the first couple hundred words as I'm getting going, I don't want to think about where my coffee is. Like it's
like, especially once you get into a rhythm at one point, like once you have a day where you write really well, like after that you become super
superstitious about creating that exact same.
Yeah, and she's under pressure to finish her book, and like she needs to finish it, so everything needs to be exactly as she expects it. So
I felt like when she did that, I was just like, oh, this is embarrassing. Oh girl, I feel you, miss.
More scene. Yeah, so I agree, like it wasn't like they and we didn't say this in our review of the Christmas setup, but it's worth repeating. They gave them such a solid amount of time together.
Yeah.
It really felt like they developed a relationship as opposed to like a couple of brief meetups. So I would say Christmas Ever After felt a bit more Hallmarkian
in the brief meetup. This has only been a couple days and now I'm going to move here, and like, yeah.
In the pacing of it all and the way their relationship developed.
Also, they had to, for some reason, follow COVID protocols, Matt and Izzy, the actors behind Matt and Izzy, and so they had to kiss with the plexiglass.
Which is why the kisses are weird, in case you guys didn't know that.
Kisses are weird, and they take you out of it just a little bit. So they were obviously at a disadvantage chemistry-wise, too, because they were under these protocols.
Yeah. But they're, you know... there were some really great lines. We love a witty heroine. All of our favorite Hallmark heroines are smart and witty and
a little bit of a mess, because
and a little bit, you know, all humans are. So she had some really great lines. Like Desmond would never cookie shame Katerina. Like I wrote that down. I was like, hilarious.
Also true. True love does not cookie shame.
You would not cookie shame your true love. That is actually true.
I will also say, as somebody who writes romantic short stories a lot, and reads an obscene amount, an actual like legally obscene amount of romance. Her journey as a writer at this point right now, and when we meet her, is from taking her character from taking her male lead from being perfect to being human. And I think my number one criticism of books I read that I can't stand are when the hero is perfect.
Right.
And the understanding that all relationships are complicated and flawed because humans are complicated and flawed. That's truly her journey in this story.
Yeah.
And so it was such a unique journey in a way. Like because for her, she had put Desmond up on such a pedestal, which is very common for people who read a whole lot of romance novels. There's academic research about women who struggle to start dating in the same, just because book boyfriends are a real thing. And book boyfriends are not often written authentically. And so that's sometimes a struggle that people have.
Mm-hmm.
I adored this arc for her.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, she she's great. I know people who know her because she did Philadelphia theater for a little while. And they also say that she's just like a mensch.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. We also met her in a Chipotle once.
Well, I didn't meet her. You introduced yourself, but we were in New York City for one of our many theater trips. And we went to Chipotle.
We were seeing Moulin Rouge, I think.
We were seeing Moulin Rouge because that's right. We went because
we were seeing Aaron Tveit and Karen Alivio in Moulin Rouge.
Moulin Rouge because we're spoiled brats. But we went the hashtag blessed. Yes, and your husband was with us, and we went to Chipotle for dinner, and she was in there, and Kristen was like, "Oh my God, that's the girl.
That's Ali Stroker.
That's the girl that just won a Tony." And I went, "Oh my God, yes, it is."
And she happened to be sitting next to the garbage can, so I could be a little bit stealthy. So I went to go throw away her stuff, and I just leaned forward and I said, I was like, "You deserve that award and so much more. Absolutely incredible. Like, thank you for gifting us with your talent," which is always what I say to people that I meet who do that. And she just looked at me, "Thank you so much. I needed to hear that." And I was like,
she was not having a great day, and you just gave her a balloon of love.
And I walked very calmly away, and then sat back down and looked at Aaron and my husband, and was like, "Oh my God, she likes me."
We were very excited, and continue to be, and we'll tell that story forever. So
and I also feel a real connection to her because I got to meet her in a Chipotle. So
that always makes us more invested in the people we see in these films, as obvious of our gushing over Aaron Tveit in One Royal Holiday. But honestly, like, if it wasn't Aaron Tveit, we would still love that movie. But we love
very true. We just love Aaron Tveit before we love the movie.
Correct. And similarly, we loved Ali Stroker before we loved the movie. We were delighted to see that she was in it. And, you know, all the hat tipping to Lifetime for just being real casual with all the diversities, because that's what life looks like. And like, they had people of color that were not caricatures or plot points. They had we
got a little black best friend in this, which wasn't great, but the actress brought it in a really grounded. Yeah, they had a really clear relationship. So it flirted with black best friend a little bit too much for my comfort, but
samesies. Yeah, I wrote it at the beginning. I was like, "Oh, black best friend." But then there were some other people of color in the townsfolk as well.
We also got a Tony Award winner singing, which gives this movie bonus points for us, because why do you waste Tony Award winners?
Yeah. Oh yeah, the lady from the town council that had a crush on Matt was
she was a woman of color as well.
A woman of color as well. So we got that really well. I loved the way Matt's sister is in the movie is gay, and like, it's not a plot point, it's just life. And Izzy sees her in the cookie shop and says, "Oh my gosh, how's your wife?" And she goes, "Oh, she's really great. She'll be here later." And like, you know, we're going to keep beating this horse, because anybody who's watching this, who watches movies, Hallmark movies and Christmas movies, no matter what service, know that very often these people are made caricatures or plot points. And wherever they fit on that spectrum of ability, class, color, race, gender, is often part of the story. And here it was just like, humans who have these qualities living their best Christmassy lives in Silver Springs. And like, I will always be here for those movies, and we will always be champions of them.
For sure.
Yeah.
So all in all, a real good grade this year. I think we're going to give this year an 80%. One real dud and 2 outstandings and 2 really goods. So
I'm going to see if we had Christmas bingo before we sign off for this year. We definitely had a festival.
Oh yeah, for sure. Multiple.
Single parent storyline.
Yep.
It was not filmed in a foreign location. There was not a royal or heir. So single parent storyline, character returns to small town, holiday baking, second chance romance.
Nope.
No gifted musicians.
Nope.
No. We took out main characters don't like each other. No, folks, I don't think we have bingo this time, but that's okay with us, because that's just for the funsies, and the movie was fantastic without it.
Absolutely. So for anyone who joined us just for this coverage, we cover a whole lot of things throughout the rest of the year. But if you're just here for our holiday stuff, we'll see you next November. But please feel free to subscribe and stick around. We talk a lot about pop culture in terms of joy bringing and diversity, but also women in leadership. and the navigation of generations around each other. We talk about a lot of things, and we are generally this sassy about it. So if you enjoyed any of this, please hit subscribe. We'd love to let you hang around, and if not, we'll see you next holiday season.
That's right. And you can find links to all of our really wacky range of playlists in the show notes to this video. And you can even, there's a highlight playlist, which will just give you a taste for all the kind of stuff that we do. But we hope to see you again soon, and take care, everybody.
Bye.